Let's see, what else do we have? Here's another one called Disruptive Design. So this one I just picked up yesterday. I'm going to show you how to use stuff like this, because there's lots of stuff out there that is somewhat similar, but if you don't know how to use them in Camtasia and or PowerPoint, you're going to struggle. So I'm just going to make that kind of clear for you, or at least tell you what you're up against, right? So there's a little demo reel and stuff here. In fact, I'm going to let this roll. I'm going to pause it, and I'm going to kind of go to a specific section here. So here's the thing. They're kind of like these Doodle whiteboard videos. And I think everyone has seen these kinds of things. The hand comes up and it starts to draw a whole bunch of stuff like that. They were cool 2 to 3 years ago. They're becoming sorely overused, I believe. And the thing is that you have to have super quality images. And I'm not going to get into the technical details here. A lot of them are still okay, but they only work well if they're specifically designed image files. They're called SVGs, single vector graphic files. Don't worry what that means if you don't care. But most of them aren't designed properly to draw realistically. And they end up just looking like a cheap and cheesy, hand flying all over the place, drawing all kinds of extraneous lines and stuff like that. And quite frankly, they're really just kind of lame. So here's where this new set kind of differentiates. So let me just let that roll a second. I see these are better. And that's kind of the trend that I want to explain. If the cheap and cheesy whiteboard, unrealistic, fake-looking pens flying all over the place are becoming kind of old and amateur night, this is just literally a different way that these somewhat same effect is kind of done. So you see that the image kind of draws itself. Right? So it's animated in that sense. And then the hair gets colored in, and the tie's going to get colored in, right? And it also is going to have some gestures to it kind of at the end. So it's like a doodleboard video, but it's a whole lot less obnoxious. And quite frankly, using the hand thingy, if you don't time it right, some people have it set too slow and it laboriously draws out all kinds of crap you don't need. It loses the effect. A visual effect like this should be short, it should be punchy, and then it should get out of its own way so that your message can be delivered visually. So this is a much better trend, in my opinion, for these kinds of little doodle types of things. So that's the biggest point that I kind of wanted to make there. And then I'm going to show you a few things here to help you use them, because there are a few caveats. So basically, these come in a few different formats: animated GIF, MOV, PNG, and Flash formats. As Camtasia and PowerPoint users, we really kind of only care about the animated GIFs and PNGs. I'm not going to talk about the MOV versions right now because it's a little more technical, and I kind of spell it out here. We talk about MOVs with transparency. The bad news is they aren't supported in Camtasia 9 right now. The good news is I've talked to the developer, and they're going to look at encoding them so that they do work in Camtasia 9. So that is TBD. But again, it's nice being in touch with developers and stuff like that. So let's take a look and see how to use maybe some stuff like this. So let me open up the folder. Here is the collection. And essentially, they have a lot of good elements. They have backgrounds that draw in and animate in a non-cheesy way. I'm just going to kind of focus on characters right now. So they have male and female and yada yada yada. If MOVs are kind of off the table at the moment, I'm going to talk about the animated GIF files. In Camtasia 9, animated GIF files now work just like a video file, right? So let's just kind of find one of these, drag it to the timeline in Camtasia. And I'm going to zoom in, get a little more real estate here. So here it is. And if I move the playhead to the beginning, what you'll see is that, oh, there's nothing there. That's because it hasn't started drawing yet. If I scrub the playhead, right, it animates itself in a drawing fashion without the cheesy hand thing. And since it's just an image file, of course, we can resize it, position it, do all that good stuff, add text boxes, whatever else we want to do here. But the punchline is that it's pretty nice. Let me see what my background color is here. It's probably white. Okay, so let me change the background color, and I'll show you what I mean by transparency. Okay, so since it's transparent, you can see that now she shows through nicely on whatever background I use. I will say that for best results, they'll look smoother on a white background. There is a tiny bit of pixelation around the outside that's white. Let me redo that. Also be aware that in preview mode here, things aren't always as smooth as they appear. So here's a tip. If you want to see what it's really going to look like quality-wise, if you go here and say 100%, okay, now I can use my space bar and kind of grab this and move it around. So at full size, full screen, you'll see, the animated GIFs have a little bit of stuff here. In reality, it's not very noticeable. In fact, it kind of lends to the cartoon characterness of it. But again, on a white background, they look beautiful. Just beautiful. And they scale well and all that good stuff. So here's a problem. Let's say I got my gal here and she does her thing and she kind of a wink and a nod, right? And my text comes in. What if I want her to stay longer than this? Okay, what you'll notice is I'll let it play. Boom, it just disappears. Most animated GIF files are loopable, which means that I can't just add another one on the end of this, another copy of it, because it's going to start drawing all over. And you also can't grab the end here and move it, okay, to make it longer. So the question is, how do I kind of let her draw in, boom, 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 and then just kind of stop and stay longer? One might be tempted to think that you could find the frame here. Okay, she's completely stopped. Well, I'll just right click and extend frame. I like your thinking, but again, since it's an animated GIF file, no worky. So you can't just extend the frame. So the trick here, so what I want her to do is stay right here. So you put your playhead at a point where you want the image to freeze. Then you go to share and say export frame as, right? Or you can use Control F. So let me just save this out and let's go find that. Let's go find that guy. Maybe test. There she is. So this is a still image. Okay, export frame means take whatever image makes up this frame and kick it out as a PNG file and put it at the end. So now what happens, and I think you might be able to jam it right on the same track. Let's try that. So she finishes, and now I can make her stay as long as I want. Okay, not very painful, but it is a thing. So you really want to be aware of that little trick, because it just solves a whole bunch of problems. Let's go back to the collection. Speech bubbles. They have lots of objects and which are like animated icons. stuff like that. Speech bubbles. Here's another kind of tip. If you open up the GIF folder, well, it's kind of hard to tell what that is. Oh, and by the way, if you try to launch this animated GIF file, Windows is going to launch Internet Exploder. All I want to know is which one is which. So what I do is I go to the PNGs, and now I get a picture. Let's see. Oh yeah, I want speech bubble 3. Then go back to the GIFs, speech bubble 3, and we'll drop that on the timeline. Boom. You know, we could rotate it or whatever we want to do that way, and then just put a text box on top. Line it up, you know, the way we want it and all that good stuff. Yeah, but it's kind of sweet. So it shades it in and then brings the white color across. Like I say, I think these are better visually than a lot of the crappy whiteboard stuff out there, and that's why I'm kind of interested in these. Trend-wise, I think they're fresher, they're cleaner, and all that good stuff.
Oops.